All right. Welcome back, everyone, to PSGL. We are here for round 2 here in Season 30 on the PlayStation F8 Championship. It's good to be back. And today, we're here at the Silverstone Circuit for the British Grand Prix as we head into round 2 here in PSGL. So excited to get back into the action here in this amazing league. And let's talk about where we are. So we're here at the Silverstone Circuit, which is located in Northamptonshire, Britain. It was also the first ever Grand Prix in Formula One history. That's a quick fact about the circuit. In terms of the circuit itself, we got 18 turns to make up a circuit length of 5.8 kilometers. That's 3.6 miles long. There's also 2 DRS zones to help encourage overtaking, 1 down the Hayner Straight and 1 down the Wellington Straight. So overtaking is very common for around here. We're going to see a lot of overtakes into the turn 6, turn 7 area of the track. That is Brooklands and Luffield. And then, of course, at turn 15 at the end of the Hayner Straight, and you're going to see speeds pretty high for around there, as that's going to be pretty much the best place to make an overtake. So, with the track details aside, let's get into the Grand Prix as we head into the qualifying session. You join us with 17 minutes and 25 seconds remaining of the qualifying session as we head into round 2 of Season 30 here in F8. So, I'm back again commentating for this amazing league. I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for today, and today we're here in Season 30, Round 2, as it had mentioned many different times, and we got an amazing grid ready to go. If you guys did miss out on the previous round in Portugal, definitely go check that out. It was an amazing round of racing, and Milan took the win. He did. He took pole position and he took the win as well. It was a very good race for him. A dominant victory, really, for the Mercedes driver. He starts off the season as the first winner. So congrats to him as well on that one. Let's see what he can do here in round 2. Maybe go for back-to-back victories. Or will someone else stop Milan and possibly take their first victory this season? Hopefully. We'll see how that all works out. Another driver I think that's going to be up there fighting with Milan for the win is De Boselaer in the AlphaTauri. Currently, he's in the pit lane. He hasn't set a current lap time, but it looks like he's about to come out on track. So, he was second in the race, had a very dominant race as well. Started third, if I'm not mistaken, made that beautiful overtake on the Williams. I think it was Slash into turn 1, and it was able to just stay in P2. And I think here in Britain, he's going to be able to challenge Milan and possibly challenge the other drivers out there as well. It's going to be great to see that. I also expect a really strong performance by the McLaren drivers. Francie and Jarno, I think they have some incredible pace to show. It didn't really go quite well for them in Portugal. Unfortunately, there was a few things that happened in the race which unfortunately didn't get them the max amount of points that they hoped for. But here in Britain, I think they're looking to bounce back and hopefully get a good result. All right, so we are 15 minutes into this qualifying session. If you guys have any questions about the upcoming race, send them down in the comments below. I'll try and read all the comments as best as possible, but of course I'm currently commentating, so it's going to be kind of hard to read the comments and commentate at the same time. But yeah, anyway, the 2 Mercedes are up top, but no one's really set any lap times right now. Jarno is on the medium compound tires. I'm interested to see how that's going to work out. It looks like everyone else is on the softs. A few drivers still in the pit lane yet to come out on lap time, so I expect them to probably come out. Maybe one of them will start out on the softs as well. But I'm curious to see what Jarno's planning here, and I'm curious to see if this is the strategy he's going to be going for. If he goes mediums to start with, that is a very bold strategy, but could work out. Now, the thing is, guys, is about the strategy for around this track. You can take these tires for a long ways. You can actually take the tires, like soft tires, you can take them from around lap 13 onward to the end of the race. It's quite astonishing. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We'll see what happens, but yeah, the mediums to softs, that's a very good strategy, and to be honest, if you can make those mediums work, then you're set for the race. You are absolutely set. The most difficult point for the racing is going to be the start. It's going to be the very start of the Grand Prix, because when you're starting on those mediums, you have so many other drivers on the soft compound tires going around and being faster. So the first 7 laps are going to be very difficult for anyone on the medium compound tires, but After that, the mediums are going to be much faster than the softs, and then you're going to be on quicker tires once you put onto the soft compound tires. But we'll see how that all works out. It looks like everyone's pretty much going for the softs right now. 2 drivers to set lap times, now 3, because the Ferrari Ruben has just gone second fastest, but the driver that started on pole position, Milan, has just put a 1:26.273, very quick lap time from the Mercedes driver. He is a few tenths faster than Ruben, so already setting the pace is the Mercedes driver. Great to see that, of course. Anyone else on a lap? It looks like the Alfa Romeo of Giro just went P3 with a 1:26.797, a tenth off of Ruben's lap time. Now goes the Williams. El Piloter was really strong last time out in Portugal. I think he's going to get a good race here today in Britain as well. So we'll see how that all works out. The second Alfa Romeo, Felix 1 in the Alfa Romeo, has just put a 1:26.7, as Robin now put a 1:26.7. A lot of 1:26.7s right now. We're seeing a lot of similar lap times for a few of these drivers, but a few lap times are coming in. Giulio in the AlphaTauri just went second fastest, with now Slash going second, a 1:26.4, 2 tenths slower than Milan, but very close to the Mercedes driver. So the times are coming in. The times are coming in. The track is warming up. These drivers are just getting their first lap times, and so they have to make sure that they'll be able to get a faster lap time. So the track is warming up. Keep an eye on these laps getting faster and all that sort of thing. Let's talk about Slash for a moment. Slash had a pretty, I'd say, decent race. It didn't go the best for him. That spin at the very start of it really affected his end result. But he started second in that Grand Prix, and I think if it wasn't for that spin, he probably would have been in contention for the win. So, yeah, who knows? We'll see how this all works out today. He might be able to try and take that win. I think he'll be able to challenge Milan and de Beausoleil and all these other drivers that are fighting for the race victory. It's going to be very, very awesome to see. Another driver to keep an eye on as well is Robin West. He got a podium last time out, had that brilliant strategy in Portugal, which worked out beautifully for him. And I could see him going for another type of strategy like that, going for something a little bit different to what the other drivers are doing, and hopefully that pays off. Maybe he's the one to try and set a lap time on the mediums, but he's already set a lap on the softs, so it's going to be very difficult to set an even faster time on a slower compound of tires. So it looks like everyone's coming into the pit lane now. Syntex in the pits. De Beausoleil on a lap right now. Keep an eye on this guy. He could be setting a very good lap time in a few moments. Of course, he's coming into the pit lane, I think. So he's not going to be setting any quicker lap times on that particular lap. But he should come into the pit lane and maybe put on a fresher set of compound and go out again. We'll see how that all works out. But it looks like Mats is currently on a lap, but I think he's actually on an in-lap right now, so he's coming into the pit lane for Alpine. Francis on a lap right now. Let's see what he can do in the McLaren. Let's take an onboard with the McLaren driver and start off the British Grand Prix. Down the Hamilton straight into turn 1 and turn 2, a very difficult corner this is. You want to make sure you stick in 8th gear and rotate the car perfectly because you can spin off very easily. Down into turn 3, a heavy braking zone, a very good place to make an overtake as well. As you head down into turn 4, another heavy braking zone, shift down to maybe 3rd to 4th gear, then immediately on the power as you come through a fast left-hander at turn 5, down the Wellington straight, down to turn 6 and 7, a quick left-hander, then a quick right-hander that turns into basically a hairpin of the track. Turn 6, a great place to make an overtake. Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso, I can remember, had a great battle in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Turn 7, now you don't want to go too wide, because you can go off into the gravel, and that can, of course, ruin your lap time completely. Through turn 8, completely flat out. Into Copse we go into turn 9, a very difficult corner, as we all know. Traction zone as well, kind of similar to turn 1 and turn 2. Now, through the most difficult point of the entire track, Maggots and Beckett's a quick left, right, all that sort of thing. As we head into turn 14, a little slow off that particular section, goes a little bit wide. That might affect his lap time. He's sticking to the inside line there, trying to get as much speed. Down the Hanger straight we go, and let's see what the speed is going to be. It's going to be around 200 miles per hour as he comes down to turn 15 at Stowe. Rounding that curve pretty nicely. Don't go too wide. You can get invalidation pretty easily. As you come down to turn 16 at Vale, you want to brake right between the 50-meter mark and the 100-meter mark as you come down into turn 17 and turn 18. Round the final 2 corners we go! And Francie just loses the car a little bit. And unfortunately, that snap of oversteer unfortunately ruined his lap time, and he's not going to be setting a quicker lap time. He's absolutely going to be furious with that one. as he's going to have to recover from that, take this in lap, take this cooldown lap, then go out again, and that might have hurt his qualifying. That's going to hurt it a lot. So we'll see what happens here. He's going to have to make sure that he just conserve this lap and then go out for another one. And the thing is too is that he is on the medium compound tire, so he's going to want to make sure that he doesn't wear out those tires too much, because you want to make sure those mediums last for a long time, so you can pit onto the softs. Like I mentioned previously, that strategy is a very good one. So yeah, a little bit disappointing for Francie, of course, because he was on such a good lap, and unfortunately it didn't go well at the final 2 corners, but that's how it goes. All right, so we have a few drivers coming out on track. It looks like they're all coming out on outlaps. We have a few questions coming in the comments as well. And yeah, I was just reading those comments. It looks like some of you said that there's a lot of different live streams on YouTube right now. Yes, there is. There's a lot of different live streams because, of course, we have so many divisions here in PSGL, and that's what's great, is that there's so many different divisions, so many talented drivers. It's one of the most amazing leagues in the entire world. So everyone is doing their best to drive as we are doing all these different divisions. Currently, this is F8. I do believe there's a few other divisions, like 5 other divisions doing racing right now. So I hope all those races are going to go good, as Milan has just set a faster lap time. Wow, this guy's quick, a 126.1. I think we're going to break into the 125s, which is going to be great. So we'll see how this all works out. Milan is hoping for a really good season. He's looking to get back into the higher divisions and all that sort of thing. I think he's got a huge chance of doing that, and I think also he's got a huge chance of winning this championship, just judging by the pace that he showed in Portugal. It's going to be very amazing to see how this all works out for him. Now, another team I want to keep an eye on as well is Flash and El Piloter in the Williams team. Currently, they have a 126.4 and a 126.5. Williams looking really strong. Of course, in real life, this is Williams' home Grand Prix, as they're based in Grove, Britain, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they're looking to get a good result, as Syntex in the Haas just went 3rd position with a 126.5, as Giulio in the AlphaTauri just went a 126.4. The times are coming in fast, guys. We're going to see some even quicker lap times. And wow. Oh my goodness, I just realized this. Second and third place are just separated by 1/1000th of a second. Flash's lap time is a 126.408. The AlphaTauri is a 126.409. 1/1000th. 1/1000th separating these two drivers. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. But moving on, we just got 6 minutes remaining of the qualifying session. I'm assuming drivers are just finishing up their lap times here, and then they're going to head into the pit lane and make sure that they look at those lap times, get ready for their final lap before they head into the Grand Prix, as the final lap is where it counts. That's where the track is going to be the most, the best, really. So that's going to be great. We'll see how that all works out. It looks like Giro in the Alfa Romeo just improved on his time. He just won a 126.579. And he split El Piloter and Syntex and put it into the top 5 for Alfa Romeo. Looking pretty strong right now is Giro. Let's see what he can do. All the way down from, I'd say... Wow, actually, the entire grid is just separated by a few tenths of a second. Second down to 17th is separated by just around 5/10 of a second. That is absolutely incredible. That just shows how competitive this league is and how amazing it truly is here at PSGL. But Milan still has that lap time, 3/10 quicker than Flash's lap on a 126.408. Milan with a 126.1. Looking really strong. Now, it looks like everyone's coming into the pit lane, like I mentioned briefly. All these guys are coming into the pits. They're getting ready for their final push. They're reviewing the data that they have on their screens, and they're going like, okay, where can I improve on this time? Maybe they see that they lost a little bit of time in Sector 2 through Maggots and Beckett's, and they go, okay, I can take that corner different. I can go better into that particular section. So that's what they're currently doing. They're making sure that they're ready for the race. They're making sure that all the tires are set. They have a brand new set of tires. All their fuel is at the perfect length, so we'll see how this all works out. But I'm super excited to see how this final qualifying session, or this final minutes of qualifying, is going to be. as I think it's going to be a really, really close one, guys. The question is, can anyone match Milan's lap time and go faster? Possibly put it into the 125s, like a 125.98. I think Milan's got the pace to do so. I think Flash, I think a few others as well. Pretty much the entire grid has got a huge chance of getting like a top 5 or something like that. So it's going to be super close. I cannot wait to see what happens. So it looks like a few drivers are coming out on track. Robin West in the Aston Martin, and it looks like Felix won. Now, De Beausoleil is down in P11. I think he needs to improve on that time. Now, remember, everyone's pretty close. They're around 5/10 separating all of them, so it is very close between all of them. But yeah, De Beausoleil qualified in P3 last time out in Portugal. Maybe this track is not suiting him exactly well, but I think maybe he messed up somewhere or something like that. Maybe lost like a 10th or something like that. And one little mistake, guys, one little mistake, you lose a 10th, and that puts you down into the bottom 10, which is incredible, especially with how competitive this league is. You know, that's how tight it can be. So we'll see how this all works out. But yeah, Robin on a lap, or going on a lap, and Chris going on a lap as well. I think Felix 1 is currently on a lap. He's the only driver on track that is on a flying lap. Now he should have around 2. Oh, Felix loses the car. He is around. He just got too much on the throttle and unfortunately spun it around, and that is at the entrance to the old pit lane. At turn 8, Felix 1, unfortunately, that lap is really going to affect his result in qualifying, because now that he's had that spin, his tires are super hot, and he's got to make sure that he cools those tires down, and they're not too much degraded, so he can go out again and set a better lap time, because currently he's down in P12. Now, another thing to mention as well is that a few of these drivers may want to qualify down in like P11 or P12 because they can start on whatever tire they choose. The top 10 all have to start on the same tire that they qualified on, where the bottom 11 all have to, well, basically can pick whatever tire they choose. They can pick a fresh new set of tires, which is great. Sometimes I tend to qualify in P11 on purpose to try and get on those new tires and then try and get an advantage off the rest of the drivers in the top 10. So it is a strategy here, guys, but I'm sure a lot of these guys will be looking to find a little bit more pace, and especially how close this is, they know that they can probably find a little bit more pace and get up there. As Felix 1 retires, unfortunately, the Alfa Romeo could, maybe just those tires were just too degraded, maybe too hot, and maybe he thought that he wasn't going to be able to improve on that. Unfortunately, that spin really affected his results, so he's going to be qualifying P12 at best, unless someone else is going to be improving on that time, which is very, very likely. So, who was first to come on a lap? It might be Ruben in the Ferrari. I think it is Ruben. So he's about to start his lap time. And let's see what he can do as he comes through turn number 1 and turn number 2. The Ferrari driver coming through the third turn, looking pretty strong right now. Meanwhile, a few other drivers are on laps as well. I'll quickly get the lap data on screen so we can see what his sector times are going to be as well. Now keep an eye on, I think De Beausoleil is going to be starting his lap very soon. He's just coming up to turn 15 at Stowe. So he's getting ready to start his lap time. Keep an eye on him and a few other drivers as well. Through left field we go. I'm curious to see what Ruben's Sector 2 time is going to be. Unfortunately, I was talking about some other things, so I couldn't really see his Sector 1 time, but that's perfectly fine. As we come through Cops into turn 9. And his teammate has just spun off at where the Sector 2 time is, at the exit of turn 14, at Maggots and Beckett's, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, that's a Red Bull spinning off. That is Sud off at turn 18. What is Ruben's Sector 2? He is 1/10 up on that lap time. Okay, that's good. That's very good. He might be able to put it up into the top 5. Let's see how this works out. So he's going to be the first to come across the line in the number 12 Ferrari. Coming around the final couple of corners we go into Vale. Now, a few other drivers have spun off at this particular section of the track. Hopefully it goes all well for Ruben as he comes across the line. Now the Ferrari driver goes P4. Very good lap time from Ruben, and that is going to be good to put him up into the top 5. Great to see that. Next up to come across the line will be Jarno in the McLaren. Our host for today is going to put it into P2. P2 for Jarno. A 10th off of Milan's lap time. That is a solid lap time from the McLaren driver. Next to come across the line will be Giulio in the AlphaTauri, and then it will be, I think, the Aston Martin of maybe Robin, I think it was. Want to keep an eye on De Beausoleil's lap as well. as he comes down to Stowe. I think it's going to be a Williams actually first. It might be El Piloter. Let's run on board with the Williams as it comes down to Vale. Can he improve on his lap time? Currently, he has a 1:26.580. To turn 18 we go. El Piloter to the line. What's it going to be? P4. Good lap time from the Williams driver. Next across the line is going to be de Beausoleil. He puts a P6. So into the top 6, AlphaTauri P5 and P6. I think Francie is about to come across the line. There he goes. He puts a P16. Unfortunately, down in the bottom 16. Not the greatest lap time. Giro to the line. Puts a P5. Good lap time from the Alfa Romeo, and I think that does complete the grid. But I think the biggest shock is that Jarno put at P2. That was a very solid lap time from him, only a 10th off of pole position. But it is going to be Milan in the Mercedes taking back-to-back pole position for Mercedes-AMG Petronas. The gap between first and second was 1/10 of a second, but it is Milan on pole position for the British Grand Prix here in round 2. Jarno starts second for McLaren, and it is a Williams P3 and P4. All right, so Milan on pole position with a 1:26.112. That lap time stood, and Jarno is going to be lining up alongside the Mercedes driver down to turn 1. I'm curious to see how the first couple of corners go, because turn 1 and turn 2, pretty much okay. The drivers have to make sure that they keep it clean and respectful for the driver alongside them. Because there's a lot of room, I gotta say, into turn 1 and turn 2, but it kind of swiftly cuts off and becomes a little bit more narrow into the second turn. So drivers have to make sure that they just keep it side by side, keep it clean, and then turn 3 is where all the action comes. Braking, that's what it's gonna be. The first heavy braking zone, the first braking zone of the entire lap in the first of the race. So turn 3, turn 4, that's where it's gonna matter. If you can get that perfect, then you can have a good start. I think, personally, for me, when I'm racing at the British Grand Prix, I always want to make sure I just survive, and then just make sure that I'm just consistently driving all the way up to like around left field, and then you can start to relax a little bit and get into that position. Unless we have like a Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, or from 2021, or we have like a Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton from 2019. If you guys don't know what that is, there was a lot of battles at left field and Brooklyn, so maybe these guys will keep it side by side throughout the entire first lap. Wouldn't that be a scene to witness? So we'll see how this all works out, but yeah. So we're just waiting for the formation lap to get underway, and we're waiting for everyone to start the Grand Prix. But while we're waiting for everyone, I just want to quickly say, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to see more PSGL content and F8 content for the rest of the season, of course. Like the video if you're enjoying it as well. That would be much appreciated. Also, if you are curious to see what I do for commentary and the content I produce, you can go follow me on YouTube. Formula Jonah is the name on there, so definitely go do all of that. As we head into the race for the PSGL F8 British Grand Prix. This is season number 30. 30 seasons we have had in PSGL. It's been a really, really amazing journey. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to start off the season, guys. I mean, round 1 was absolutely incredible. We're just 2 rounds in of a long season that's going to be thrilling all the way. So, let's start off with this race with taking a look at all our drivers and doing the rundown of the grid. So in P1, it is Milan taking back-to-back pole positions. Will he be able to take back-to-back wins and convert the pole position from here at Silverstone into a win like he did last time out in Portimao? We'll find out how that all works out as we head into the Grand Prix. Alongside him on the first row of the grid is Jarno. Will he be able to challenge Milan down to turn 1 and 2? We will find out. It is an all Williams second row of the grid slash ahead of El Piloter. I think Williams are going to have a great race. Now, looking down at the rest of the grid, we got Giro in P5 lining up alongside Giulio in the AlphaTauri starting P6. De Beausoleil, who finished second last time out in Portimao, is P7 alongside Ruben in the Ferrari starting starting P8. Looking down at the 5th row of the grid, we got Syntex and Robin West, who got a podium last time out in Portimao. Maybe he'll be able to get another one here today. We'll find out. And then we got Jansen, Mats, Kenshin, Felix 1, Chris, Francie, Teese, Rob, and Sud rounding off the grid for Red Bull Racing. A few drivers on the mediums. It looks like Rob is on the softs. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. Maybe he'll be able to get a really good start off of the other medium compound runners. And then, of course, all the soft compound runners up at the top 10. But it looks like everyone's is on the grid. The formation lap has officially ended. We're ready to get the 26 laps underway here at PSGL for F8. We're just looking to get a good camera angle. Right in board with Milan, right in board with Jarno, Slash as well. And the fiber lights are about to go out for the British Grand Prix. It's 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out for racing here today in Britain. It's a really good start for Jarno. Great start for Milan as well. He gets up into P1, stays there. El Piloter ahead of Slash. The two Williams get away well as well. And a great start for everyone. Oh, contact as an AlphaTauri has been spun around. I think that's the Bosler. Down to P19. A little bit of contact at turn 2, but a lot of side-by-side action coming down into turn 5. Milan got a great start there. 5-10 separating first and second place. Jarno is under pressure from El Piloter, though, as they come down to Luffield and Brooklands. Felix 1 has been disqualified from the Grand Prix for facing the wrong way as there's a collision towards the back of the field. I think that was Jansen, Rob, and Teese. Not exactly sure, but Felix 1 is disqualified and unfortunately is out of the Grand Prix. Teese is also out of the race. Meanwhile, we have a great battle for 4th now as El Piloter, Slash, side by side, the two Williams side by side at Cops. One of them goes a little bit wide. Slash gets ahead for now. Giro looking to get into the mix as well as the Alfa Romeo puts himself into the top 5 and looking to battle for the podium positions right now. And he's got some really good traction off of turn 14, looking to get the move on El Piloter. As we come down to turn 15, he's all over the back, but cannot make the move. There's just not enough space into that particular section. But if he gets a good run out of that, he might be able to send it down to turn 16. He's looking for the move, but does not send it. He knows that he cannot make the move. There's not enough space for the both of them to go into that particular corner. So, Milan starts off lap 2. Leads us away by 6/10 to Jarno. Great start by the top 2. Great start by the Williamses as well. Looks like further down the grid we have 2 retirements in the Grand Prix. One of them being a disqualification for Felix 1, unfortunately. Never like to see anyone retire from the race, but that's how it goes. They'll move on to the next one. And then we got De Bosler and Ruben coming into the pit lane. De Bosler, I saw that AlphaTauri spinning off at turn 2. There must have been contact with another driver. We'll have to get a look at that later on. Maybe we'll get a replay of that or something like that. But anyway, moving on. Jarno has started to close the gap to Milan, but Milan gets a really good exit out of that particular section and gains 2/10. Now, Jarno wants to make sure that he gets within the DRS to Milan as we come down into into the 3rd lap of the race. So, yeah, because the thing is that if he's vulnerable, then Slash is going to come up and try and overtake him. But Slash has got a very similar gap to Jarno versus Milan. So, actually, Jarno might be safe if he's not going to be within the DRS, but he is actually closing on Milan. It looks like he's got a lot of straight line speed down to turn 15 at Stowe. And he's closed that gap up to 0.3 of a second. Jarno's absolutely flying. I think he could be going for the move very soon. Now, further down, while we're watching the battle for 1st, we also have a great battle pretty much throughout the entire grid. It's kind of a DRS train at this particular moment, but there's not really any DRS. There will be on this lap, though. As Jarno sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, he is absolutely... Oh, that's Giulio off the track! And that is at turn 1. I saw it. I was riding on board with Robin, if I'm not mistaken. Giulio spun the car. Looks like he got too much on the power and unfortunately spun it and is down to P13, P14, somewhere around there. The AlphaTauri will come back and will not be out of the Grand Prix. He'll just lose a lot of time to the front runners, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it goes in racing. So, Jarno starting to drop back a little bit now. Slash is starting to gain a little bit of time on the McLaren driver. I think he's starting to close that gap up and try and make the move on Jarno as fast as possible. But I think they're pretty much all in the same around. They're pretty much all in the same gap. I think Giro is actually the one to make the move. He is a 10th behind El Piloter. If he gets the perfect exit out of Maggots and Beckett's last turn, then he might be able to make the move. El Paleterra's got DRS. Giro gets a pretty good exit out of turn 14, but I don't think he's going to make the move into Stowe. He doesn't have enough speed into that particular section, but Giro will look to make the move down into turn 16, hopefully. No, he's just a little too far back. He cannot make the move. Everyone's kind of in this DRS train, as I did mention previously, but that's how it goes. You know, I think around Britain, I think you got to wait for that DRS to come into play, and I think then once the drivers are kind of situated and they're ready, then they try and make the move. It's going to be a little interesting to see how this unfolds here today. El Paleterra and Slash still having their battle. I wonder if there's team orders at Williams here, maybe to keep Slash ahead, or maybe they see El Paleterra's quicker. I don't know what they're going to do here. Slash seems like he's closing the gap on Jarno and Milan, so I would keep Slash ahead for now. We'll see what happens there. It looks like we have Mats and Francie having a nice battle for P9. The Alpine gets ahead for now, but Francie looking to get on the inside into left field. Mats keeps ahead, but the McLaren will look to get ahead very soon, maybe into that DRS zone. Now, Mats is not in the DRS of his teammate, Nick Kenshin. Kenshin's actually on the back of Syntex, who's on the back of Robin, so they're having a great battle for 6th right now. And then Francie will look to make the move on Mats as soon as possible. So we're having a nice battle here for 6th, and a nice battle for 8th at the for 9th at the moment. Syntex cannot get past right now. He's got to gain a little bit more time. And you can see the battle up there still forming nicely. It looks like Giro's right on the back of El Paleterra. He's just a few tenths behind that Williams driver. And while we're watching that battle up there, we're also keeping an eye on the battle right here. On your screen, you can see Robin, Syntex, and Nick Kenshin having a nice battle. That is Francie, I think, off the track. Yes, that is the McLaren driver off at turn 18. What happened there? Oh, that's the Red Bull of Sud as well. Off the track at turn 2. Maybe he got too much on the power. He's going to get back on track. He's going to come out right behind Francie, who's also trying to recover after the spin that he had. I think it was spin. I don't think it was contact. I think it was a spin for the McLaren driver. Not exactly sure, though. And here goes Rob on the Red Bull. He's on the soft compound tire, so he's going to be a lot faster than the Red Bull driver. So the Aston Martin will keep ahead of that Red Bull for now. As we move on to the front of the field, we are keeping an eye on the battle for first position. Jarno 4 tenths behind Milan. Milan keeping that gap, making sure that Jarno doesn't get too close to make that overtake for P1. And then the battle for third is also going along nicely. Slash still in that gap to Jarno. El Paleterra and Giro there as well. Jarno is right at the back of Milan, though. He is 2 tenths behind the Mercedes driver. This is working out really nicely as we have Syntex and Robin swapping positions here. I think the Aston Martin was overtaken by the Haas, and Nick trying to get into the action as well. Now, remember, Kenshin is on the medium compound tire, so he's going to be a little slower than the soft compound runners. But that is completely fine as Syntex sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix at 129.4 for the Oracle Haas F1 team car. Good lap from Syntex. He's putting himself up into the top 6 and maybe starting to close that gap to the top 5 here. This will be really good for him. We will find out if he's able to do so. Meanwhile, we also have the battle for 9th. It looks like Chris and Matt's having a good battle as well. I'll keep an eye on that. As actually, here comes Chris. He's trying to make the move on Matt's. Matt's keeps ahead for now. Chris will look to get the move possibly at the exit of Cops or probably down into Stowe at turn 15. Mats goes a little wide though, but gets a good exit actually. So he should stay ahead for now, but I wonder if Chris is going to make that move on the DRS straight. He's probably going to do so. Now El Paleterra is starting to gain a little bit of time on his teammate here. The gap between the two Williams drivers is 4 tenths of a second. It was a little bit... There we go. Now it's 2 tenths of a second. He's right in the back of Slash. El Paleterra now 1 tenth behind his teammate here. But look at Jarno. He's right in the back of Milan. And Jarno's going to try and make that move as well. The battle for first is looking really interesting. As we have one driver coming into the pit lane. That is Slash, the first of these drivers to come into the pit lane. He is pit very early. And this, I'm assuming, is going to be a two-stop strategy. Is this a strategy set by Williams here to release El Piloter and try and get him in the mix with Milan and Jarno, and then gamble with Slash here? He's pitting onto the medium compound tire, so he's definitely going for a two-stop strategy here. Oh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, he's actually probably going to go for the one-stop. I think he's just pitting very early here. Usually we pit around like lap 9, lap 10. That's usually where you pit for the medium compound tires. But you can definitely take the mediums to the end of the race from here on out. For some reason, I thought he was pitting onto the hards. I have no idea why I thought that, but that's completely fine. Slash is going to be pitting, or not pitting again, most likely, unless he tries to pit for the sauce towards the end of the Grand Prix, which is definitely a possibility. Maybe he's, actually, now that I think about this, maybe he's gambling on a safety car. Maybe he's thinking that the safety car is going to come out towards the end of the Grand Prix, and then he can pit on the soft compound tires. But we'll find out how that works out, because we just had Jarno get a 3-second time penalty, but that's not going to stop him to make the move Milan down the inside. He is going for it, and he has done it. Jarno gets ahead. Milan trying to fight back. He's all over the gearbox of the McLaren, but he gets ahead. Jarno into the pit lane. Milan in the pits as well, and that was absolutely crucial for Jarno to come into the pit lane now. This is absolutely insane to think about, because now Jarno has blocked Milan in the pit lane, because Milan seems to be pitting as well, so both drivers are coming into the pit lane, and Jarno got ahead before the pit lane, and he was able to keep Milan behind. That is absolutely incredible to think about. Jarno keeps ahead, so that pit stop phase was absolutely crucial for Jarno to get ahead and then stay ahead. Wow. Wow. That actually just worked out beautifully for him. That worked out beautifully. But now the three drivers are coming out of the pit, and they're going to be exiting. And they're going to be exiting right about here in P11. So Jarno gets ahead of Milan. And because he pit, Milan can't go for the undercut strategy. They're on the same strategy right now, and what Milan needs to do is overtake Jarno. This is critical for the race results. He has to make sure that he gets past Jarno. I don't know how this is going to work out, guys. This is absolutely incredible to see how the strategy is kind of swapped now because of that move that Jarno made. And what's also interesting is that Slash has come out ahead of Jarno and Milan. So actually, Slash is actually the big winner out of this. Slash is, he pit early, he went for the undercut strategy a lap ago, and has come out ahead of his rivals. That was perfect for Williams. They needed him to pit that early on. That was actually a very good strategy by Williams. They decided that the undercut was better, and they pit early and got their driver in basically the first position, because once everyone else does pit, Slash will be in first. So the undercut is really powerful around here, guys, and this has really worked out for Slash now, as he has got that gap to Jarno. Jarno trying to close that gap, though. He's trying to make sure that he closes that gap and gets within the second to Slash. As Slash is just at the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, he is flying. He's trying to get ahead of Jarno. He knows that Jarno and Milan are going to be flying. Same with El Piloter as well. All three are going to be on fresher compound tires, just one lap fresher tires, but they're going to be right on the back of Slash, and Slash knows that. He knows that they're going to have the DRS. He knows that they're going to have the pace to overtake him. So he has to make sure that he stays ahead. He has to make sure that he stays ahead. And he has to make sure that he keeps that gap to Jarno. He's got 1.1 seconds separating the two drivers. And when Jarno gets within that DRS, Jarno's going to start closing that gap on Slash. So Slash needs to push as fast as possible. He needs to push. And I wonder when the soft runners are going to come into the pit lane. I think Rob and Julio and Giro are the only three remaining soft runners. Everyone else is pit. So I wonder when those three are going to come into the pit lane and pit onto most likely the mediums. We'll find out in a bit. But Francie's actually trying to make the move on Rob. Same with Julio as well. France is going to be on fresher compound tires as Rob comes into the pit lane, and it looks like Julio as well. No, Julio stays out. So the AlphaTauri driver stays out on track for now, and he'll have the DRS on the McLaren driver coming down to turn 7, most likely, into the Wellington Straight. Fastest lap for Milan. It looks like the gap is still the same between all these drivers. Actually, Yarno has closed the gap to Slash. So Slash has to defend like crazy here to try and keep Yarno behind. And Milan is right there as well. El Pilotaire in the Williams car is starting to close up. We're getting a four-way fight for the race lead. Here comes Milan on the medium compound tires flying. Yarno didn't get the best of exits off of Brooklyn's. And unfortunately, he's lost time to his rival behind. But this is good news for Milan, that this puts him back into the distance to try and get ahead of Yarno. But Yarno got a really good exit off of... Milan goes a little off track. Does he get a warning for that? That's going to affect his result, because now here comes El Pilotaire on Milan. Side by side through Stowe we go. And the Mercedes driver looked to keep ahead. A little bit of a slide there, it looks like, for Milan. El Pilotaire gets ahead. That little mistake into turn 14, the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, unfortunately compromised Milan's exit off of that corner. And now El Pilotaire is ahead. And now it is Williams in P8 and P10, which should be P1 and P3. And Yarno's got to watch out because he's got one Williams ahead and one Williams behind. I told you guys earlier on that Williams were going to be strong in the race. I definitely think that they're putting on a great race here today. Slash and El Pilotaire, I think they got a serious chance of winning the Constructors' Championship with the pace they're showing in the first two rounds. It has been a very strong season for them so far. El Pilotaire 3/10 behind Yarno. Yarno right behind, though. He's right behind Slash. He's wanting to get ahead of Slash as soon as possible. And Yarno starting to close that gap on Slash as fast as possible. He needs to try and get ahead of Slash. Probably in the next DRS zone, most likely. Let's find out. So Yarno, is he going to make the move on Slash here? He's closing a lot of time, but he cannot make the move. He gets right on the back, 1/10 behind the Williams driver. And one little mistake by Yarno, that puts El Pilotaire on the move, and that will make Williams be basically 1-2 once everyone else does pit. El Pilotaire very close to Yarno, though. Look at the gap between the two drivers, 1/10 behind. I think El Pilotaire is going to go for the move. Let's see. On board with the Williams driver. He's looking for it. He's going to send it. Down the inside we go. El Pilotaire is going to try and make the move on Yarno. Down into turn 4. Is Yarno going to keep ahead? Is El Pilotaire going to keep ahead? They're side by side still. Coming into turn 5 at the exit of the Wellington straight. I'm trying to get a good camera angle. There we go. Milan trying to get in the action as well. Yarno, unfortunately, has been overtaken by El Pilotaire, but this is very good news for Williams, as now it is both Williams ahead of McLaren's and Mercedes drivers here. This puts them effectively P1 and P2. And Milan is trying to make the move on Yarno as well, but Yarno's still trying to make the move on El Pilotaire. It is basically a four-way fight for what will be P1. It's currently for P8. But once everyone else comes into the pit lane, Giro is just set into the pit lane, so the Alfa Romeo is going to come into the pits and most likely pit onto the medium compound tires. Kenshin will take over as race leader with Chris in P2 and Mats in P3. Meanwhile, here comes El Pilotaire down the inside. Williams have swapped their drivers, but that was a good overtake from El Pilotaire. He keeps ahead. Will Slash want to get ahead? I'm not exactly sure. But El Pilotaire moves up into 8th position. And once everyone else does pit, that is basically for first. So Giro will come out in, I do believe, right behind the pack of 4. He'll come out in P11, right behind these guys. Well, look at the battle for 7th here. A 4-way fight for the lead here, which will be the lead once everyone else does pit. I know I've said that a million times, but that's quite all right. Slash now trying to re-overtake El Pilotaire. The Williams boys are going at it. Oh! Is there contact? Was there a little bit of contact? I think there was. As Milan spun! I think Milan and Slash have made contact. Unfortunately, the race leader who started on pole position is down to P13. This is drama for Mercedes here today. And for the driver that had it going really well for him, I think there was contact for Milan and Slash. Unfortunately, I was riding on board with Slash at the time, so I didn't get a perfect angle to what exactly happened. But now, Milan is down to P13. This is very big drama on lap 13 for the Mercedes driver. While this has happened, though, this has freed Jarno to try and overtake Slash and El Piloter. He doesn't have really anyone at the back of him trying to overtake him. So now he's got pretty much the opportunity to make the move on the Williams as fast as possible and not worry about Milan trying to make the move as well. Also, another driver to keep an eye on as well, and you can see him just in the distance there, is the Alfa Romeo of Giro. Giro just came into the pit lane now, and he is on fresh new sets of medium compound tires. 1.6 seconds separates the three drivers battling for what will be first and himself. So Giro might be in a good chance of winning this Grand Prix, and with Jarno having that 3-second time penalty, that's going to put Giro on the back of the Williams drivers and put them in contention. As here goes Jarno, looking to try and go around the outside, maybe for the switchback maneuver on the Williams driver. He's going to try and go for it. Let's ride on board with the McLaren driver as we come down to Copse. Still the same gap separating the top three drivers. Meanwhile, Milan is starting to close the gap on Robin and trying to get back into the action, back into in contention for the podium positions here. As we also have a great battle for second right now. Chris and Mats going side by side down into turn 16. The Haas will just barely get ahead and sweep in front of that Williams, or in front of the Alpine. So Chris will get ahead. Now, another driver I want to keep an eye on is Giulio in the AlphaTauri. This guy's doing a great job right now on those soft compound tires. I mean, you would think those softs would be struggling, and I bet they are. I bet they're screaming at him to come into the pit lane here. So I don't know if the AlphaTauri driver will come into the pit lane this lap or in the next couple laps. I don't know what they're planning. And Francie's actually going to try and make the move on Giulio as well. Let's see if he's going to be able to make that move as probably into the DRS at Stowe. He's right on the back of the AlphaTauri. Let's see if he's going to make that move. Maybe into Copse? Is that a possibility? We don't know exactly at that particular moment. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th is going nicely. El Piloter still has a 3/10 gap to his teammate Slash in P2 or P8. And Giro has now closed the gap. Giro has got a huge chance of winning the Grand Prix, and currently I think he's going to win this one because of the speed he's showing right now. Meanwhile, Mats and Chris are having a great battle as well. Mats moves himself up into P2 and now is an Alpine 1-2, but it won't be for very much longer because here comes Kenshin into the pit lane, and Mats will take over as race leader. But here comes Slash on El Piloter for the race lead. Is Jarno going to try something as well? Slash gets ahead for now. El Piloter down to 8th position. Jarno's now going to try to make the move as well. Braking's going to be effective, so that could be a great opportunity for Giro to get in the action as well. It is now a four-way fight for 7th. It was a little bit earlier on with Milan, but now Giro's joined the party, and unfortunately Milan's down to P13. So that puts Giro into the fight now. Jarno 1/10 behind. I think he wants to try and make that move on El Piloter into Brooklands, most likely. He was looking for the move a little bit earlier on his teammate Slash, who's now into P6. But we'll see. We'll see if Jarno's going to try and make that move. He's got the DRS. So does El Piloter, though. Doesn't look like any overtakes are going to be happening quite yet. Oh, a little bit of bump on the back of the Williams there because Jarno just hit the back a little bit. Don't think there's any damage to the McLaren or the Williams. Oh, El Piloter a little bit wide. And a little bit too much oversteer, it looks like. That might give the position to Jarno here. That might give him the opportunity to make the move on the Williams driver. Let's find out. As we come down to the DRS zone into Maggots and Beckett's. No overtakes at this particular section, as we don't see a lot of overtaking into Maggots and Beckett's. That would be awesome if we see a side-by-side action, though. as Francie and Julio swap positions. That's to be expected, though, because Julio's got those old soft compound tires. And they're continuing on. My goodness, the number 19 driver is staying on those soft tires. You would think those softs are going to be dying at this stage, and they're most likely. But I think Julio's waiting for that safety car to come out at some point as well. As El Pilotaire and Jarno and Giro in the mix for P7. Giro just got that move. Jarno gets a 3-second time penalty. El Pilotaire stays ahead. That was a good move from Giro. He took that opportunity to make the move on Jarno and got up into P8, so it looks like there was a great battle between Jarno and El Pilotaire, and now Giro's got in the mix as well, and it's got up into P8. And now, he's just got the 2 Williams ahead of him as well. So I think he's going to try and make the move. Here comes Giro. He's got the DRS. You can see how much speed he has compared to the Williams driver. Ooh, a little bit of lag there as well. He's got a lot more speed. You can tell that he's braking a little bit different. He's got a lot more grip than the Williams drivers. He's on fresher compound tires. It's to be expected. And also keep an eye on the skies as well. As we're watching the track, we also got to keep an eye on the skies because those clouds are coming in and they're getting darker. I think we could possibly see some rain. Oh, El Pilotaire and Giro a little bit wide. I think they both made a little mistake there. And now Jarno is right in the back of the Alfa Romeo driver coming down into Maggots and Beckett's to go. Let's see if Jarno is going to retake the position. This is absolutely incredible to see. The battling we're getting in today's British Grand Prix is unheard of as we head into Stowe. El Pilotaire looking for the move on Slash. Oh, a little bit of lag as we saw a red X next to Slash's name. Hopefully that won't affect the overtaking set by these drivers. Ooh, Slash is lagging out a bit here. And Giro, I think, just waiting for that move. I think he's maybe waiting for the right opportunity to make the move on El Pilotaire because El Pilotaire, it looks like he's struggling a little bit of grip, and Giro's got more grip. He is on 4-lap-old medium compound tires, where El Pilotaire is on 9-lap-old medium compound tires. So maybe one little mistake in terms of the grip. Oh! Giro around! No! No way! No way! The driver that was in contention for the race lead is now spun around. It looks like he was hit, actually. Was there contact with Jarno and himself? Unfortunately, the result is that Giro's down to P13. I wonder if he was hit from the back. It kind of looks like it. I think it was, because I was right on board with the Williams driver, and it looks like he kind of was, like, shunted into the spin there. Unfortunate. But it also kind of looks like that he also spun a bit. I have to look back at that and see exactly what happened. But the result is that Giro is down to P13 and behind Milan. Not the best situation here. But now the 3 drivers, Slash, El Pilotaire, and Jarno, have closed the gap up to Jensen and Julio. As El Pilotaire moves up into P6 and ahead of his teammates, the Williams drivers will continue to swap positions as Julio has got a puncture. The AlphaTauri's got a puncture. Those tires, that's how long those tires can go for, guys. I mean, 19 laps on the soft compound tires. That is pretty incredible. Hats off to the AlphaTauri driver. He was able to make it back to the pit lane. Unfortunately, though, he's got that puncture, which has affected his, I think, getting back to that pit lane. I wonder if the AlphaTauri driver got back to the pits with the puncture. I don't know exactly, but the AlphaTauri now pits onto the mediums. And I wonder if he was just waiting for that safety car. I think he was, and unfortunately just didn't work out because that safety car didn't come out. We have not really seen a single safety car, really. It's been a very clean race. We have not seen any VSCs or safety cars quite yet. That could change. That very much could change. We've seen it many times in league racing where things could completely change. So that is how that goes. But Mats is trying to make the move on Chris Hallett as we come down to Stowe. The battle for first is still continuing on. They're on 18-lap-old medium compound tires. Now, they could be in contention for the race victory as well because, Mats switches to the other side of the track. This is great battling between the 2 drivers here. But they could be in contention for the race victory as well. They could end up where, like, right behind that three-way fight for 5th currently. So they might be able to get up there. I think they're going to come out right behind Robin, though. or actually probably right behind Nick Kenshin, because the thing is, guys, is that this pit lane is insanely long. It's 38 seconds long, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is the longest pit lane in the Formula 1 calendar. There might be a longer one. I'm not exactly sure, though, but I think this is the longest pit lane. I think another track that had a very long pit lane was the Hanoi Street Circuit back in 2020 on the F1 game, but that track is no longer in Formula 1, so this remains the longest pit lane. So Chris Hallett and Mats might come out behind Milan, probably around there. I think that's kind of where they're going to come out. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they get a really good pit stop, or maybe they get a really terrible pit stop. Either way, they are going to have to pit at some point. So we'll find out. The skies are very dark on track. It is very dark. I wonder if we're going to get some rain. I don't really have that information because the game doesn't really give me that information, unfortunately. But that's that way. That's all good. As Mats comes into the pits, Mats has chosen to come into the pit lane. Chris will stay out. So Mats into the pits. And now the question is, where will he come out? He's going to come out... We're thinking he's going to come out around Milan. Somewhere around there. Maybe like where Giro is. Maybe somewhere around there. I think he's actually going to come out where Giro is. I think that's kind of where that's going to be. That pit lane is very, very long. As he's spinning onto the soft compound tires. And I think he's going to exit right behind Giro. Let's find out. Let's get an onboard with Giro as he comes through the final couple of corners now. And he's going to come out. Oh, Giro's going to get ahead. Mats is going to come out behind Giro. And is he going to stay ahead of Ruben? He is going to stay ahead of Ruben. Good for him, but he has to start gaining that time on Nick Kenshin and Giro and all those other drivers. I just saw a little graphic that came up on the right side of my screen that said we just reached 18 live viewers. So thank you guys so much. Let's try and get to 20 live viewers. That would be great. Yeah, just keep up the great work of just watching the race. And you guys definitely have to stick around for the end of the Grand Prix, because we are in for an incredible end of the Grand Prix. We got the battle for first between El Panglater, Slash, and Jarno. That is going to be absolutely incredible. Syntex is there as well. Robin. And then we got Milan coming through the field as well. He's 5/10 behind Robin, and actually he's going to try and make the move on the Aston Martin driver. And look at that. I think we're getting rain. I think we are getting rain. Yes, we are getting rain. That was instant. That was absolutely instant. And I knew it was going to come at some point, but I didn't expect it was going to come that fast. There is lots of rain on track, and I think everyone's going to come into the pit lane. This has affected everything in the Grand Prix. Robin and Milan come into the pit lane. Watch out for braking, guys. We're all good. Okay, we're all good. But everyone is in the pit lane now. Look at the track now. It is absolutely raining. That came in super fast. That came in super fast. Look at Slash. He's trying to get that car in the straight line. Syntex stays out as well, but look how much rain is out on track as we head into the end part of the Grand Prix. I did not expect the rain was going to come in that fast. But, yeah, it's happened. And you know what's also happened is that Chris Hallett is now taking over the race lead of the Grand Prix. Francie is in P2, effectively. Jansen in P3. I cannot believe what has just happened here. This has changed everything. This has absolutely changed everything. And this is just absolutely brilliant to see as we see weather coming into effect. We always get it here at Silverstone. It always is a thriller as we have the rain here in Britain. And it is absolutely astonishing to see how this has all worked out. But wow, that rain has affected the entire race. It has turned the results of what was the dry race completely around. That has completely changed everything, and now Chris Hallett has basically taken the lead of the Grand Prix. You can see how much Syntex is struggling on those medium compound tires. Slash is going to be struggling as well. Ooh, you could see him just struggling to keep that car in a straight line, coming on the power here, and it is just not working out for him. Chris Hallett is going to start chasing after, and that strategy that he pulled was absolutely brilliant. I could see why Julio also wanted to stay out on those soft compound tires, but it seemed that the rain just didn't come in that fast. Came in towards the end of the Grand Prix, but that was a brilliant strategy from Chris Hallett, and that might have just well gifted him the race win. The race win, guys. The Haas driver might be scoring the race victory. Wouldn't this be incredible for Chris, as he's struggling to keep it on track, but he's just got to make sure that he survives for the next 4 laps of the British Grand Prix. Francie as well. I think he started towards the back of the grid. Let's get all that information out on screen so you guys can see all that. There we go. Chris, he's gained 14 positions. Same thing with Francie. Francie's gained the same amount of positions. So both drivers have done an absolutely amazing strategy to stay out on those tires and go to the rain period. That was perfect. Absolutely perfect for them. Also, another driver in the top 3 is Jansen. Great to see him up there as well. So Jansen on the intermediates now, of course. And he is going to be possibly getting a podium here today. He's got El Palater, though, right behind. So the Williams might want to get out there and try and close the gap on Jansen. I think he's going to be trying to. He's 2.2 seconds behind Jansen. He's going to look to make that move as Milan and Robin side by side through Copse in turn 8. Are they going to go side by side through Copse? Don't risk it. And they aren't. Milan gets ahead, Robin down to 7, so Milan making his way through the field and looking to get back up into the podium positions, or at least a top 5 after what happened at Luffield, if I'm not mistaken, or no, it was Brooklands, turn 6, with the, I think, collision with Milan and Slash, if I'm not mistaken. I can't tell exactly. I'll have to look back at that and see exactly what happened there. So meanwhile, El Palater and Jansen, the gap's still 2.0 seconds. El Palater starting to gain the time. He's locking up a lot into turn 16. That's a very difficult braking zone, especially in these very difficult conditions out on track. We are now entering lap 24 out of lap 26. Chris Hallett still leads a 5.4 second gap to Francie. My, how the race has turned around. I thought it was just going to finish with El Palater, Yarno, and Slash up at the top, but it has completely changed around with the rain coming into play towards the end of the Grand Prix, and that strategy that Chris, Francie, and Jansen pulled was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant for the 3 drivers there. They really made sure that they got that one right. So that was pretty incredible by the 3 drivers there. And they started towards the back of the grid. And right now, it is working out beautifully for them. So we'll see how this works out. But we are on lap 24. 5.3 seconds still separates Francie and Halles. Oh, Julio's out of the race. And I think that was in the pit lane. I wonder if that's just because the AlphaTauri is in the pit lane, is too far down, you know, not to be able to score any points. Seems that is the case here. It was going so well for him as well. I mean, they were pulling off that amazing strategy of the soft compound tires. And the thing is, too, is that AlphaTauri were... I mean, if the rain came a little bit sooner, AlphaTauri and Giulio might have just gotten up into the top 3 and been in contention for the podium. But it just came a little bit later than expected. So, moving on, I think we got a nice battle for 8th, I think? No, it's for 10th. We got, or 11th actually, because Ruben and Mats are having a great battle here. I think that's our closest battle out on track. Ruben, 2 tenths behind Mats, looking for the move. No DRS, because DRS has been disabled during the wet conditions. Mats will stay ahead. Ooh, getting a little squirrely off of that particular corner. That might leave the door for Ruben. Going for the switchback maneuver. Syntex gets a 3-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Mats keeps ahead for now. They're trying to short shift. Ooh, traction. A little bit of oversteer. Is Ruben going to try it? Is Ruben going to try it? No, he's not. He's not. He thinks better of it. Phew, that was very close. I thought they were going to go side by side in these very difficult conditions into turn 1 and turn 2. That would have been brilliant if they did that. That would have been incredible if they did that. But unfortunately, it didn't happen, and I wouldn't risk it myself in these very, very treacherous conditions out on track. So meanwhile, towards the front of the field, Nick Kenshin under pressure from Slash, I think. Slash is starting to gain the time. He stayed out a little bit longer than expected, I think, and unfortunately that kind of affected his results. He was in contention for the win earlier on, but the rain really hurt him, and unfortunately he's going to be down to P9. It has not been the best of races for Slash for the first 2 races. It was going really well in Portugal, and then that spin, and then here it seems the weather affected his chances of the win and all that sort of thing. So that's the way it goes. We move on, and Chris is about to start the final lap of the British Grand Prix. Francie in P2, Jansen in P3. Will Jansen hold off El Piloter though? Will El Piloter get up into P3? Jarno's close behind as well. One little mistake by Jansen that gives the podium to El Piloter. And yeah, well, let's see how this works out. Hopefully Jansen will keep ahead. I want Jansen to get on the podium, but I also want El Piloter to get on the podium as well. It's hard to pick who we want on the podium, because we want to see all drivers get a good result in racing and all that sort of thing. But let's run on board with Chris. I'll get on board, or we'll get on board with the Haas driver. He has pulled off an incredible race here today. He hasn't got a lot of screen time. We talked about him during, of course, the switch to the wet tires and all that sort of thing. But yeah, he's had a brilliant race. That strategy worked out beautifully for him. And you know what? It paid off. It paid off amazingly. And he's up to P1 from around, I think, P13 or something like that. And Francie up to second after having a difficult qualifying. Started P16, is up to second position. That is incredible. Incredible to think about. These 2 drivers started towards the back of the grid. Jansen also started towards the back of the grid, and the rain really helped them out to get that. So here comes Chris. Round the final 2 corners as Nick Kenshin gets a 3-second time penalty. He has done everything he could. That strategy was amazing for him. He started towards the back of the grid, but he's going to finish in front. Round the final 2 corners, Chris oh my goodness, I messed that up. Chris is up into P1. And what an incredible job for the Haas driver. Chris is the winner of the British Grand Prix. Francie up into second position. Jansen into third. What an incredible race for Chris as he wins the British Grand Prix in unforeseen conditions that changed the results of everything in the Grand Prix, guys. This changed everything. It was El Piloter, it was Jarno, it was Slash, it was Milan and Giro all battling for first, and it completely changed around, and it went in Chris in his favor. It went in his favor, and it worked out just amazing for him. So pump that fist in the air, and just gotta say congrats, you have done an absolutely amazing job. Driver of the day as well, I gotta agree with that. He did an incredible job today. So P1 for the Haas driver. Chris is your winner here today. And the McLaren of Francie finishes in P2 with Jansen in P3. What a podium here today at the British Grand Prix. What a race. That was absolutely incredible. What a finish to the British Grand Prix. I mean, I am so happy with how that turned out. That was absolutely incredible. These drivers should be proud of what they achieved here today. Some, unfortunately, didn't get the result that they wanted, of course. I think mainly those the Williams drivers and Jarno and Milan and Giro, they were all fighting for P1, and the rain really affected the results. So that's the results for the British Grand Prix here in round 2 of F8. It is Chris on pole, or he started down in P15, finished in P1. What an incredible race for him. He should be very proud with that. Francie in P2 for McLaren. Jansen in P3 for Mercedes. I am absolutely speechless, guys. Just thinking about this, it is just wow. Wow, what an incredible race that truly was. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. El Piloter finishes down in P4 with Jarno in P5, Milan in P6, Giro in P7, Robin West in P8, Slash in P9, and Nick Kenshin rounding off the top 10 for Alpine in P10. And then the rest of the grid, and then I think we had a few retirements as well, but that's quite all right. But I gotta say, one more time, that rain really did change things, and it changed things in a great way. It changed things in a great way for the top 3. Chris, congrats to you. If you're listening to the live stream, congrats on the win. Congrats to also Francie and Jansen on the podium. We will try and get the 3 drivers in for an interview if we can do that. So give me a moment while I try and get them all in. It should take around 1 to 2 minutes to try and get all 3 drivers in. So while we do that, just give me a moment, be patient, and we'll get our 3 drivers in for a quick interview before we round off the British Grand Prix. All right, so we're just waiting for our 3 drivers to get back into the live stream here so we can quickly get an interview with them. So we're just waiting for all 3 to join. We may not get them. We'll see how that all works out. So yeah, once we get them in, we'll do a quick interview with all 3 drivers, and then we'll round off the stream. All right, we'll give them 1 more minute, and if they aren't able to join, we'll round off the stream. So just want to say, guys, thank you so much for joining. It's been an incredible race. Wow, I cannot believe how that race turned out. It was absolutely brilliant to see just how that rain affected the race. We had an incredible overtaking part of the Grand Prix as well, with like 5 different drivers battling for the race victory, which you don't see that often. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So it looks like Francie cannot join. That is quite all right. And then I'm not sure about our race winner or 3rd position, but we will find out in just a moment. Looks like Jansen cannot join either. That's quite all right as well. So we'll just wait for our race winner and see if he responds. All right, well, I think we aren't going to be able to get any interviews here today, but that's quite all right. That is how it goes. Of course, these drivers are probably very happy with how their race went, and they want to make sure that they move on with their day and probably celebrate, you know, after a pretty incredible race that they truly did have. So I guess that's going to be it for the PSGL F8 race here in Britain. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was truly incredible to see what these drivers were able to do out on track. I cannot wait for the next one. But yeah, guys, if you did enjoy the race, definitely subscribe to the PSGL YouTube channel to see more content on this league. And then like this video if you enjoyed the commentary as well. That would be hugely appreciated. And if you want to check out all the stuff I do on social media, definitely go subscribe to the Formula Jonah YouTube channel as well. But next time out, we'll be heading to another classic circuit, a very different circuit to the British Grand Prix. It is going to be the Circuit de Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. Wow, that's going to be an incredible race. I cannot wait to see how these drivers are going to be in Monaco, a very different circuit to the 2 other circuits that we've had so far in season 30. Yeah, it's gonna be incredible to see what these drivers could do in Monaco. So join us then, same exact time, for the F8 round 3 race in Monaco for season 30. But this was round 2 in season 30 for F8. I'm Formula Jonah, your commentator for the F8 division in PlayStation. I hope you all enjoyed that one, and thank you for watching PSGL, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.